This is a sphere. This is not a sphere. And I'm not hiding any philosophy behind this sentence. This is a plane. If you know what billboards are, you may now be thinking that it's just one of them, but with a billboard, can you do this? Believe it or not, it's not that hard to achieve. Let's make it together. First of all, let me say that yes, this is actually a billboard. So, as first thing, we're gonna write the logic to make the plane always face the camera. I actually have a whole video on this very topic. You may want to check it out, because here we're going to expand on that. Today we're gonna discuss another way we can make the same plane face the camera. Keep in mind that the transformation you apply changes if you change how the mesh is oriented by default. For this tutorial we'll work on a real space-shaped plane, which faces the z-axis. This method follows an extremely simple logic. We take the local position of the vertices, we flip the y-axis, and we apply the view toward space transformation matrix to the result. Then we add the object position and subtract from it the world position, and that's it. Smooth and easy, even though there's a ton of stuff happening here. Let me explain why everything works. We have this plane that is facing up and we have our camera that is looking at it. We can say that both have their respective axes that define their orientation in 3D space. What we want to do to make the plane face the camera is to transform its axes so that they match the ones of the camera. That can be done without too much trouble by the transform node. But why do we set it from view toward? Here we're leveraging the fact that the direction the camera is facing, relative to its own space, is the z-axis, which is the same the plane is facing by default. So, by disguising the plane vertex positions in their local space as how they will be if in camera space, we can obtain the billboard behavior by transforming everything toward space. To say it in a more straightforward form, do you see how the plane is placed in this window? Here we're seeing its vertices as in their local space. If we now snap the camera so that the view aligns with its axis, we see how the plane is facing straight at us, which is exactly what we want from a billboard. So now, if we take the local space positions, which are these, and we say to the shader, hey, these are actually in view space, give me the values they have in the world, we obtain that the plane face gets snapped to the viewport. Then why do we negate the local space y-axis? Because in the explanation I just did, there was a subtle error. To precisely align the camera axis to the viewports, we should actually do this. Because the z-axis points away from the camera, which means that yes, we would make the plane behave like a billboard, but it would be facing in the wrong direction all the time. So, by flipping the y-axis, we're making it turn by 180 degrees, face to us. Remember, with this transform, we're only applying a rotation. Everything is considered to be at the origin. That's why, after that, we have to add the object position, because otherwise the plane would move there. And with that, we'll finally obtain the world positions of the plane vertices as a billboard. So, as final operation, we subtract from them the real vertices positions to obtain the offset we have to apply. Now, before moving on, do you know why we're using the view space instead of the camera space? In what do they differ? Look at these two planes and tell me if you see any difference. Yes, the shadows. If we use the camera space, it behaves like how we would expect. The rotated plane casts the shadow as it was actually rotated. While, if we use the view space, the plane correctly faces the camera, but its shadow is still facing the light source. You have to know that the shadow casting lights are actually cameras too. They render a depth pass of the scene from the point of view of the light, and then Unreal creates the shadows by matching what the viewport and the light cameras can see. So, the difference between the two transformations is that the camera space uses the viewport camera transform in the shadow pass too, while the viewport space uses the transform of whatever is rendering the scene in that moment, which means using the lights one during the shadow pass. This property of the view space will prove to be very useful later. But now let's have a look to another potential issue that will become apparent much later, but is better to address now. Do you see it? The billboard doesn't inscribe perfectly the sphere when it gets distorted by the perspective. This is an issue because since we have to simulate a sphere inside that plane, it means that it will come out trimmed on the sides. To fix that, we have to implement a different billboard logic. What we want is a plane that faces the camera position instead of the camera direction, a subtle but important difference. To achieve that, sadly, we can't use any ready-made transformation, but we have to make our own. We need to calculate the three axes that from the camera are always pointing z towards the plane. So, let's start by placing down the material function we need to do the transformation, and plug in as vector to transform the vertices' local positions. Now it's time to find out which these three axes are. We already know the third one is a vector that points from the camera position to the object position. And well, this was the most important one. Now we can figure out the other two from it. We can cross our newly found vector with the word up axis to obtain the x-axis, and then cross x with z to obtain y. And look at how now the plane is still a billboard but with a different behavior. Now we don't see it change position if we rotate the camera, but if we translate it instead. And if we overlap it to the sphere, we can now see how it is able to inscribe it much better than the previous method. There's still one more issue though, again, the shadow. At the moment we are doing this transformation for the shadow pass too, so it got back in sync with the mesh we see in the base pass. But how can we fix it this time without being able to read light data in the materials? Let me introduce you to the shadow pass switch. Thanks to this node, we can basically write two different shaders in the same place, one for the base pass, one for the shadow pass. So let's hook our custom transformation in the default pin, and the old view space one we were using before in the shadow pin, and we're good to move on. It is time to do some raycasting. We're going to use the billboard as a window through which we can see the sphere. We could explain the logic behind using raycasting to simulate the sphere as the following. The camera sees the plane as such because all the points on its surface are at distances disposed like it looks like a flat squared surface. If we could instead compute which distances would the camera see if the object was a sphere, we would be able to calculate all the necessary data to actually make it look like one. Raycasting is a very simple concept in itself. You have to calculate if and where a line, also known as the ray, intercepts another geometrical function, such as the sphere. This, when speaking math, it is called solving a system of two equations, and it is very likely that you solved tons of these problems during high school. Let's brush up a bit those brain muscles. A point along a line can be identified as the following. The location of a point P is equal to an offset from an origin location O along a direction D for a certain amount of units U. In our case, the origin of the ray is the camera position, and its direction is the camera vector, while we don't know how many units far from the origin we have to move yet. A point on the surface of a sphere can be identified through this other rule. The distance between the point P and its origin O must be equal to its radius r. Now, the length of a vector can be calculated with Pythagoras' theorem, but since we don't like square roots, we can say that the square distance between O and P must be equal to the square radius of the sphere. We still don't know the value of P, but we can say that the origin of the sphere will be our billboard position, while its radius will be the half length of one of its sides. For these two functions to intersect, it means that P must be the same in both of them, so we have to solve the equations in such a way that they give us the same value for it. Guys, I know that for whoever doesn't already know what I'm talking about, this thing is a complete disaster to follow. And trust me, I know it very well, since my background is purely artistic, and for years I kept banging my head on this type of problems, trying to solve them by logic, trying to find workarounds, going to like trial and errors essentially. But soon enough you find yourself in that situation where either you speak a certain language or you don't. And that's why I want to share with you this experience of mine by offering myself as a sort of guide or tutor to help you connect the dots between art, math and code in whichever direction you want it to go. So if this thing teases you at all, have a look on my Patreon, or feel free to ask more details in my Discord server or even down here in the comments. And yes, I hope to see you there. Back to us. I'm not going to do an algebra lecture here, since it will be too long and out of the scope of the video. I'll just explain what's happening in various steps so that you can follow without being bored too much by all the calculations. So, to figure out the value of p, the only missing piece we have is u. Let's solve for that. Let's break up the vectorial line equation in its components, and let's use them as a substitution of p in the sphere equation. Then reduce everything so that it's all expressed as something multiplied by u. That's a long and scary sequence of letters. Let's see if we can simplify it somehow. Between these parentheses, we're calculating the squared length of the camera vector, which, since we know it to be a normalized vector, we know to always be 1. And since any number multiplied by 1 remains unchanged, we can just remove that part. Let's now look at this other bit. It's a bit harder to spot, but since these can be considered as components of the same vector, we realize that what we're looking at is actually a dot product, so we can rewrite it as such. Same thing for this other part. And now everything looks much better. You may have noticed that u is still appearing twice, and once is also squared. This means the equation has two possible solutions, which by extension means that our p can be in two spots at the same time. How's that possible? Well, it makes perfect sense if you think about it. If the ray intercepts the sphere, it will always do it twice. Once when it enters it, once when it gets out. Let's solve this quadratic equation with the usual formula. As you can see, the two different distances at which the 2 points will be are determined by the sign of this square root. But we can scrap one of them, because we already know that we only care about the first intersection, the one that goes in the sphere. So, the surface of the sphere in our scene will be, for each pixel, these units away from the position of our camera. Be mindful of the root. We must be sure that the delta is not a negative number, otherwise it can't be computed. That will mean the position of p doesn't exist, which means the ray is not intersecting the sphere in that pixel. So, while we have to avoid to create computational errors, we can save the delta value since it holds an important bit of information, which will become handy like right now. We can use the delta sign as an opacity mask for our billboard. And the shadow is acting up again. Well, the problem now is that the raycast uses exclusively the viewport camera data, so the light is getting the very same result. This time I have a workaround for that, which is not an exact solution, but works perfectly. We'll just create a circular mask using the plane UVs for our shadow pass permutation. Given the nature of the sphere shape, its 2D projection will always be a circle, so this solution is going to work perfectly fine from any point of view. Okay, until now we got an extremely convoluted way of doing a circular mask. I'd say it's time to start making it look like a sphere. The most effective way to do it is to calculate the normals. To have them, we have to first finish to solve our system of two equations. Until now we got u, but p is still pending, remember? Well, luckily this is super easy to do. We just have to use the u value we calculated in the line equation. This basically outputs what the world position node will do if the mesh was actually a sphere, and since it's a sphere we're talking about, we know that its normals are essentially vectors that point from every point of its surface away from its center. And now, my dears, it's time to make the magic happen. At this point, the billboard definitely looks like a sphere, and it would fool everyone if it wasn't for that funny shadow and the fact that when overlapping with other geometries definitely looks like a flat plane. Since our mesh has only 4 vertices, we definitely can't do anything on the vertex shader to bend the geometry so that it looks like a sphere. We must come up with something on the pixel shader. This is the perfect use case for the pixel depth offset. Through this, we can modify at which distance the mesh surface is perceived by the camera, which means it can edit the depth value of the pixel, even though it can only increase it. So, first of all, we need to move the plane a bit closer to us, so that we can push back its pixels as needed to shape it like a sphere. To do that, we can just offset the entire mesh before transforming it towards the camera by the sphere radius, so that the billboard will always be tangent to the sphere point that is closer to the camera. And now we need a depth mask that we can use to push back these pixels to create a spherical shape. We can recycle U once again. If we subtract from it the distance of the billboard surface, we get exactly how distant the raycasted sphere surface is from it. And finally, our plane looks like a sphere in every aspect. Anyways, that's it for this video. Do you see any potential in doing this sort of stuff? Let me know in the comments your thoughts. I also wanted to thank a lot these guys here that have started supporting me on Patreon basically as soon as I launched it. I'm so happy about that. If you want to download this material, you will find it there. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.